Hey everyone, it's Steve from Steve 87th Puget Sound and Pacific. Today we're going to review what I've done over on the far side of the layout today with how I was able to complete it all. Okay, so we'll start the video in just a minute. So today I'm going to show you my little transformation from the back side of the buildings. All right, so if you remember last time I said that I was going to work on this section of the track, which was going to be over by the lumber yard or materials yard. So you can see that I finally was able to finish it. I was using drywall compound to lay this section of the area to get it flattened out, to get it up to height and all that. So one of the things that I found out, it takes an awful lot to get this going. You have to apply it in very thin strips, and when you sand it, it's really, really dusty. So once we got this all done, I was able to paint all the brown. You can see that I also finished off the hill in the background and painted that all up with base ground color so that we can go ahead and start on the next sections of finishing this off. So what we're going to start doing now is laying out the road and putting in all of the asphalt that's going to go in this area. Okay, so several sections of the road. There's one more section that is being finished off over here. It's got drywall compound on it now. I kind of put it on thick. It's probably going to shrink a little bit and will have to be redone again to level it off with the grade crossing. So this is actually my grade crossing that's underneath here to make sure that we could made it up to the grade crossing area. And then we go all the way up the hill to meet up to the bridge. And the main crossing on that section. And then all the way over here to where the concrete plant is. And this section will be done in concrete since it's the concrete plant. I think that they'd want to do their own road rather than have it in asphalt with its crossing section too. So step one was to actually find out where the road was going to go. So the building yard is going to have the one building straddled up to the tracks, and you can see the road is going to be right next to it. So this didn't need really forklift traffic because in the past they would just hand load all of these items. So what we needed to do is find out where this building was going to lay, mark it with some tape, mark this area off so that we could go ahead and strike our lines and figure out how we're going to take it off of the bridge. So now we've got it laid down, gone ahead and striped out the roads, made those turns by cutting it with an X-Acto knife after putting down the tape. In this case, we're actually just going to paint the roads in. We tried to stay as far as possible, but I found out that when I actually did the sides of the road, some of it was a little narrow. In this section right there, it's only about a 10-foot to an 11-foot lane. And then we have the road sections going off on each side. So for our project today, we're going to use the Woodlands Scenic's asphalt coat for the main portion of it, and then the Woodlands Scenic's concrete. Now what's kind of strange about these, they don't go on the normal way of just painting with a brush. It's more like you have to apply them almost like you are paving with these. It makes it a lot easier from what I've found. In the past, I've used the asphalt on my long road across my yard, whereas I used the Craftsmate Color Smart paint from the acrylic paint from Walmart on my main road in my town. And they actually have an asphalt as well. Both of them work pretty good, but they are applied differently. One is actually a paint. The other one, like I said, this is a little bit different on how to apply it. You have to kind of spread it out rather than paint it on. Alright, so this time I'm going to try to give a demonstration of how to apply the asphalt. The bad thing is I don't have a stand for my camera, so I'm going to try to do the best that I can. So I've poured out a big puddle, and now you can see me sort of with the brush pushing it around a bit to get kind of a nice smooth area. I use the rubber foam tip brush because it has the best coverage, and when it dries, all of those lines and all that aren't going to be seen. You just kind of move that puddle around, giving it a nice heavy coat, taking it wherever you need to do it. Again, the foam brushes I find work best to move this stuff around. It applies fairly well. Again, sorry for not being able to show you the whole thing. It was kind of hard to do this one-handed and try to get my hand on the brushing action. So this is new for me. I'm going to try better in the future to get a little bit better picture. So now we have our final results. I was able to remove some of the tape away. I still have to paint that one section. You can see that I have some wooden crossings that I can now stain. The crews have moved their equipment off to the side of the road since the paving is done. You can see that I missed some spots. The concrete has all been laid right up into the front of the concrete plant. We're going to have to do some work on that, do some weathering and do some cutting on it. The pavement goes all the way along the sides. You can see how the curves turned out. They turned out really nice. In this particular road, you know, the road is basically going to go right up next to the greenery. We have our Viking little vacuum truck and brush truck trying to get rid of the last of the dirt that's on it before everybody gets let out on the road. We went over to the main. You can see that I've got that one exposed now too with the metal, and then we've gone up the side of the hill with the asphalt, and we also did put in barriers off to the side along with crash cones and all that, just in case, to make sure that nobody falls off the side of the road until we can get the rest of the guardrails up and so forth. So we've got the road into the yard, the materials yard. So you can see there we've also got another crossing. It's just a basic little small 2-lane crossing there, and that also came right up to it, so we protected that most of the way. And again, that'll get some weathering done on it. And then finally on the concrete, we've got the concrete on one side, we've got the crossing on the other. I didn't do quite the best job. You can see there's still some white that came off on either side of it. There's some white over there that didn't quite come up. So it's taken a little bit of knife, and we'll do some repainting back over there. You can see that there's some brown that needs to be filled in. We'll probably put some dirt in there and so forth. And more white specks that had to be cut off and all. So overall, it came out pretty good. The pavement, you can see, is fairly flat. It's really nice, just needs to be weathered. We'll get that last section done and weather it up, and weather up the main street, put the stripings in it. And you can see here the road is kind of narrow in this section, but what I might do is have a little project to widen that section of the road, put that on. That section of the road up there, you can see, actually widens. We're going to try to put in a turn lane if there's enough room. And we've got crossing lights and crossing bucks and signs to put up. But this is the one part that concerns me the most. But there wasn't really much room. You can't tell by the brown, but it does actually fall off the side of the road to allow some drainage. And we're going to have to work on what we can do behind the building, because we wanted kind of that to show that, hey, progress has been made and the yard that was there isn't there anymore. So this is our last section that I have to build up. I have to figure out what exact building I want to put in here, and then this will more than likely be the materials storage yard. And then the last part, we'll be able to put this in. We need to put the back parking lot in for the concrete plant, and then we start on this center corner section here. You can see that tried to start laying out where I want to put the new feed tanks for the bakery, or the smaller silos for the bakery. Haven't quite decided on how to do that yet. And then I still have to figure out how to do the rock silos for the concrete plant. But that's kind of what we've got left. Some weathering, some running, and now I've exposed the tracks back again, so those all need to be cleaned up, so maybe I can run some trains again. So that will finish it for this installment. So thanks for watching. This is Steve from Steve 87th Puget Sound and Pacific Railroad saying thanks for watching, and join me again when I give you a later update. Thanks a lot. Bye now.